Both cameras?
All
right. Action. All right.
So hi, my name is Mike, and this is my wife Rachel, and this is our story about our struggle with infertility.
So Mike and I have been married for 4 years now, and about 1.5 years ago we started noticing that a lot of people who got married long after us were already starting to have kids. I started seeing my doctor and asking questions, and we started just a really long process of figuring out answers. So the first step was lots and lots of testing. We got test results back that were so bad right around this time last year actually that we started seeing a fertility specialist. And she was very optimistic at first, and she did lots more tests and told us that with our kind of results that IVF was our only option, and we were going to be ready to start it in January, so about 1 year ago. And then last January I got a phone call from her the day before we were supposed to start all of these procedures that she just said, there's been a mistake. We think it's an error in communication. You're not candidates for IVF after all. Your test results are so bad. There's really nothing that can be done. And I think at that point I really hit just the bottom of what I had left, that there really was no more hope. Even knowing that, even since I was a little kid, I wanted to adopt, there was just something that felt like it had been taken away from us. And it was really painful that we would just never have the experience together of seeing a baby that had my husband's eyes, or having those moments in a hospital room where people come and meet your newborn. And so it was pretty bad. During this whole time, I work as a nurse at a crisis pregnancy clinic, and it's easy for a lot of people who didn't want it. And they were there because they didn't want the one thing that I wanted so badly, and it got really hard.
Baby bingo is you fill out every box as to what you think she might get while she's opening her gifts. The middle one is free.
I had been invited to speak at our church for a women's fellowship event about where our hope comes from in times of struggle. And I contacted the woman organizing, and I told her, you don't want me here because I have no hope left. And our families had been praying so faithfully all along, but just praying that we would have the ability to open up about the entire struggle. And so I went and I told our story. I think it's one of the hardest things I've ever done because it hurts to be raw in front of people. But once we started telling the story, people started praying for us.
Remember that if you're the last person in line, you have to swaddle the baby.
That means you have to open the correct way.
You have to swaddle? You have to open the baby. And if you get another one,
That Sunday morning, we were just kind of going about our business and waiting for the inevitable sign that we weren't pregnant again. When Rachel's like, Mike, and I was like, what? I was just saying in my head, here it comes again. We're not pregnant. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what?
And when I called his office, his nurse practitioner said, well, that doesn't happen. That's a miracle. And they couldn't believe it happened. And I think we still can't believe that it happened. I remember really clearly thinking that the miracle kind of stories hurt the worst because God didn't owe us a miracle. His goodness doesn't have to just give us exactly what we want when we want it. And looking back on that and then seeing how the whole situation just played out so that he would, and he alone would receive glory from it.
Though I mentioned that I wanted to have maybe a Michael Derry III, we kind of wanted to recognize that this was something that God had done. So this is the reason why we chose his name to be Elliot Joseph instead of following after my name, because Elliot being a derivative of Elijah, meaning Jehovah is our God, and Joseph stating that God bringeth increase, we felt it was a more appropriate name for him, so that to really reflect on what God has done in our lives.
No matter what was happening, God is who he is all the time, and it's his timing that brings about increase in our lives. And I had a kind of a moment of clarity, I guess, right before this ladies' breakfast, where I got to spend time with my grandmother. She's 92. She's pretty much the most amazing person, and she has lived through, I can't even imagine. Her husband died young, she lost her sister, her mother, and she just, with this smile of joy, was saying to me this one day, if God hadn't let those things happen, I wouldn't be the Christian that I am. And I felt this spark of hope again, that if I didn't give up, I could be like her someday, that I could be a testament to the people around me, to our children, adopted or biological or however they come to us, that here's what God does in your life when you just cling to him and wait for him to reveal a purpose, or even if he never shows you the purpose of it, to reveal to us that he was there the whole time. He was there.